porridge and porridge and cottage and coat. What right have I to speak to impress upon those who have more? They'd be better with less. What right have I to ask those well-read to give up their bounty for those underfed? What right have I? What right have I? What right have I? What right have I now? I who have faculties sometimes to think can sing for my dinner or wages or drink. What right have I to put flags out to wave, to caution that comfort will make you a slave? What right have I to want more for the world than to watch the clock ticking while scavengers circle? What right have I? What right have I? What right have I? What right have I now? I have a dream, whether worthy or not, a pillow each head and a chicken each pot. I'll admit that the cost falls to those who have got, but a spirit can't grow when it's feathered a lot. What right have I? What right have I? What right have I? What right have I now?
I saw a friend of mine walking on a winter's day, taking a path that had at one time been mine. Crumbling now I see the garden wall is falling down in the embrace of passing time. I've been a fool before, I hope it's not held over me. blinded by certainty, with spirits dancing through my hands, in the embrace of rhyming lines. Though I lay my head on a pallet of straw, or a fine woven silk feather bed, I will find my way as sure as the wind to the fields of Elysium. I saw a friend of mine walking on a winter's day, taking a breath that had at one time been mine, stumbling now I see the garden wall beneath my feet, in the embrace of passing time. Though I lay my head on a pallet of straw, or a fine woven silk feather bed, I will find my way as sure as the wind to the fields of Elysium. Though I lay my head on a pallet of straw, or a fine woven silk feather bed, I will find my way as sure as the wind to the fields of Elysium.
Good morning. How are you doing today? I so very much wish I could hear your answer. Welcome to All Souls again on a Sunday morning, or whenever you're going to watch this. We're doing it live, and if you're with us, I hope you will send your energy this direction. This is a congregation built on covenant, not creed. We're here in our agreements and promises for how we will be with one another and strive to be in the world rather than what we believe. We don't have to think alike to love alike. So we come here doing our best to treat respectfully people with differing paths and opinions. That is not easy, but it is our covenant and our challenge. Whoever you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be here with us, you're always welcome. I want to ask our board treasurer, Rebecca Tuggle, to front load our service with information today. And thank you for doing this with us, Rebecca.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Nothing like some Aretha Franklin in the morning. All right. Yes, I am Rebecca Tuggle. Welcome to All Souls. I've got a few announcements for us. Our giveaway, the plate. Every month we give a little bit to a local, we try to be local, at least statewide, project that we would like to put some support behind. And this month for October, it is Together Louisiana Ida Relief, because of course, as we all know, they desperately need it. Want you to know that adult religious education will resume. We're taking a little hiatus, but they will start back on Sunday, October the 24th at 9 a.m. Zoom lunch is continuing on Wednesdays at noon. And this week it will be hosted by Susan Yellett. So come have lunch online with your All Souls friends on Wednesdays. Big thanks to everyone who came out for Building and Grounds Day yesterday, because the responsibility for the upkeep on the church and the grounds falls to those of us who are members of the church and supporters of the church. And so thank you very much for those of you who did come out. The Highland Blessing Dinner, that has picked back up. That is for, of course, anybody who is vaccinated to either take part or to help with the Highland Blessing Dinner on Thursdays, starting at 5 o'clock, runs from 5 to 7 at the Highland Center. It is usually, you are really there at 5 and out by 7, and it's a wonderful thing. If you are vaccinated, they only ask for your proof of vaccination once, and then it's on file with them. Larry Andros, who does our meditation here on our services on Sundays, also hosts a sitting Buddhist meditation group on Saturdays at 10:30. And you can look for links to that on information for it if you're interested in the chat. We also have virtual coffee hour after the service, and there will be links for that in the chat as well if you would care to join us and hang out a little bit after the service. Also, look for links in the comments on ways to give to All Souls, to give away the plate, that kind of thing. You can also visit our website at allsoulsshreveport.org, and you can find links and announcements and information there. Especially our families with children. Our Director of Religious Education, Susan Caldwell, who is off for some well-deserved vacation time, is working on doing outdoor activities with families with children. But she will keep you informed of that, and that's the easiest place to see that is online. And that's all I have for right now. I'll see you later on in the service, but I'll give it back to Barbara.
And I'm going to send it to Bennett Upton with this.
Giving it up for your love, everything. Giving it up for your love right now.
Yeah, wow, that was quite the introduction. And I didn't really have a whole lot to talk about today, but I did want to mention that there are rumors of a possible trunk or treat. So if you have families, especially if you have some kids that are going to want to get some candy for Halloween, or maybe some folks a little older than your typical children, then yeah, trunk or treat. Stay tuned. Also, with the numbers in the Shreveport area, the risks have been declining. So as a member of the regathering committee, we're gonna begin re-meeting and starting to talk about how we can get more in-person events and less online stuff, so that we can start building a better community together. And that's all I've got. So I'll hand it on back. Thanks.
Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
Thank you, Bennett. Thank you, Rebecca. And thank all of you that helped yesterday. I'm sorry I could not be one of them. I enjoy coming out and working with folks here at the church. Next time we come, it will be a good time to de-beard everything from spider webs. They have been, they replenish every week. So they've made some ample housing for themselves over time. And so even when we knock them down, they come back pretty quickly. And I hope that, we can divide the place up into safe sections and let everybody demask that section next time we have a building and grounds. There's also lots of other stuff to do. Let's see. We are beginning to think about our pledge drive and ask people to be mindful of the fact that the building still has maintenance and costs, and that the staff is still here. There are, programs we want to support, and all of that takes money. So today we'll be touching on those topics, and I hope that you will take a few breaths, let yourself relax into being here, and enter the spirit of worship together.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, spirits draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the body, scattered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the body, scattered here in the struggles and the body, scattered here in the struggle of the hour, scattered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the body, scattered here in the struggles and the body, scattered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near.
We gather here on this Sabbath morn to worship in spirit and truth, to raise a joyful noise to the eternal mystery, to reconfirm our covenant, to seek wisdom in love, to strengthen our commitment to the common good. We come from many paths to explore that which is hidden, to consider the ways of the heart, to confess how we have stumbled, to heal what is broken. We assemble in the effort to quicken our compassion and mercy, to deepen our understanding, to renew to remember who we are. Thus we celebrate the grace and gift of life and practice our faith to the greater glory of the Spirit. This morning, I get to welcome my son, Noah Wagstaff, to lead the first part of our chalice lighting. Noah, would you help us with that, please? Unmute.
All right, so we light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. And this is the church of the loving heart. Together, with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other.
Thank you very much. I light this chalice for all of you and for all you've done. So many of you have jobs or even avocations that are of great service to many people. And I thank you for that. For all you've fostered and cultivated and nudged, for all you've suggested and directed and maneuvered, I light this chalice for the intensity of your reactions in responding to grace and rejecting mediocrity within the tender balance between tradition and choice, comfort and consideration. I light this chalice for your being here now, out of calling, out of commitment, out of love. This chalice is lighted for you. I would ask again our board treasurer, Rebecca Tuggle, to lead our unison affirmation, if you will. And please, everybody, get used to once again saying that with us, embodying these words and making it a habit to participate in these worship services.
Thank you, Barbara. So please join me. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it and you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. For love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Money's dandy and we like to use it, but love is better if you don't refuse it. It's a treasure and you'll never lose it unless you lock up your door. For love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. So let's go dancing till the break of day, and if there's a piper we can pay. For love is something if you give it away, you end up having more.
Thank you, Malvina Reynolds. For this time for all ages today, there are a couple of videos I want to show us. The first one tells me if I believe it can be done and try my best, sometimes because of my effort, the world around begins to see the vision I have and helps to make it so. This is about giving our dreams and giving our energy.
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर आइए सर चल चल
I hate this country.
तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले। लगा हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे, हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाला करे। ओ लगा हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे, हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाला करे। उफक पे पाँव रखो और चलो अकड़ के चलो, उफक पे पाँव रखो और चलो पकड़ के चलो, फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो, फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो। तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, हिंदुस्तान चले। चलो
Clearing the way for life. Sometimes things aren't the way they seem. Still, when we try to balance kindness, resources, and responsibility, sometimes a balance can come to the world that we may not even recognize.
Mẹป่วยอ่ะ
อย่าทำอย่างนี้อีกนะ
มวยเกาเหลา จ๋อนั่งเลยครับนั่งเลยป๊าจัดไปสั่งมาเร็วต่ออะไร
Good morning again. When I originally began exploring Unitarian Universalism and All Souls specifically, the tradition of not talking about money was a very appealing factor, I must admit. And then I decided to volunteer and become treasurer. Mainly because it was something that I knew that I could do. It was a way that I could give that maybe somebody else couldn't. I know how important finances are, even though we hate to talk about them. And even though I am treasurer, I don't like talking about it either. But it's extremely important. And the reason it's extremely important is because of what we are trying to do as a congregation, as a community. We are trying to bring the light of liberal religion to our little corner of Louisiana, but not even just there. Mainly, as much as we can spread it, we spread it. And why? Because it's a good message. It's a beautiful and a simple message for everyone to belong, for everyone to love and to be loved, for all of us to know that we are part of each other and part of the world, and that together we can do a lot more than we can by ourselves. Now, what does that mean specifically for our congregation? So now we turn to the pledge drive part of the program. I was looking back at least the records that I have kept in my tenure, and the average that it takes to keep the congregation, to keep All Souls going, is $140,000 a year. That keeps Reverend Barbara paid, and goodness knows she should be paid, because the last 19 months, she and Susan have basically been holding this thing down pretty much on their own, with the help of Brittany, though. Thank God for Brittany, because Brittany, you have really done a wonderful job, seriously. And Barbara is clapping, and I can see her on there clapping, as well she should. Thank you. Susan, our Director of Religious Education, who does a marvelous job and also participates every single Sunday that rolls, and that's not the only day, that's just the day that you see her doing it. Jan, who many of you may not know, but who keeps our finances together for the church. She keeps us straight, and she helps me tremendously. Deborah Warren, who does the cleaning around the church on a regular basis. These people need to be paid, and they are paid, and we help them to be paid. But not only that, we also make contributions to support our community. We help support the Highland Center Ministries, who does the Highland Blessing Dinner, among other wonderful things for our community, such as microloans, so people don't have to use payday lenders. Northwest Louisiana Interfaith, I could go on for hours for what they do and what Barbara and Susan do to help them. So keeping our congregational home as a light of liberal tradition in this area is hugely important, and it's something that is very important to me. It's one of the reasons why I became treasurer in the first place, and why I have been treasurer for as long as I have. So I ask you to please be generous. We need you. Thank you.
Good morning. For today's meditation, let yourself find a comfortable position where your body can be balanced and your spine straight. Begin with a deep, comfortable breath, shifting your attention to your heart space. And imagine breathing in and out of your heart. Allow your breath to deepen and slow. Allow your breath to be soft and kind. Today, as you open heart and mind to the sacred presence of this moment, reflect. I have long struggled with energies and needs within myself that seem to be at war, opposites that arise within me and demand a choice. Yet either choice leaves me unfulfilled and incomplete. I long for the open freedom and spontaneity of this changing moment. Yet I find if I choose only freedom, that choice leaves my life drifting and chaotic. But if I choose responsibility with its commitments and plans, my life feels dry and separate from the infinite possibilities of life. I long to open my heart to the world, yet that openness can leave me vulnerable and unprotected. If I close my heart, I cannot touch the stream of life that gives me joy. I long to give and share time, money, resources without reservation. With that choice, my own needs can suffer. Yet if I narrow my focus and my energy to my concerns alone, I lose the life-giving connection to beloved community. Responsibility and freedom, self and others, work and play, change and stability, giving and receiving, holding on and letting go. Too much, too little. Which choice to make? Do I need more strength, more self-denial? In this sacred moment, I turn within to the space of heart. Here I shall seek the wisdom to guide my next step. In my heart, I know that I must look and listen deeply. What I have misperceived as struggle is instead an ongoing dance of life. Polarities are not at war, they fulfill and complete one another. It is my openness to receive that invites and strengthens the giving heart of others. And as I give, I nourish that vital seed of meaning and connection within me. It is the heart that knows the perfect point of balance. It is in freedom that I can freely choose my responsibilities. And it is my responsibilities that make safe and sustainable my celebration of freedom. It is the heart that knows the perfect point of balance. It is in the mirror of beloved community that I see my purpose and my gifts. How can I refuse to offer my resources and my time? It is with my body, mind, and spirit that beloved community moves towards its vision. How can I refuse to care deeply and completely for myself? It is the heart that knows the perfect point of balance. It is in darkness I find my strongest yearning for the light. And it is in light that I can most clearly understand and love the dark. In giving, I receive. In receiving, I give. In self, I see the other. In the other, I see myself. I will trust my heart to show the way. In this moment of the sacred dance, I center in my breath, breathing in, breathing out, breathing out, breathing in. Breathing in, I touch the changeless center of living presence. Breathing out, I join the dancing play of opposites with wisdom and compassion.
your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella is upside down.
Hey, hello again. And yeah, I'm Bennett Upton, and I would, for one, I would like to say that I really loved what Rebecca was saying, and to come up with a number like $140,000, and to say that all of this is just for that amount. That to me seems small, and the knowing what other things this size have cost, this seems extremely cheap at the price. But I've been thinking a lot about money lately. Not so much about the pledge drive, but just in general. Just the federal budget has been in the news, and budgets are all about where we put our priorities. Racism and sexism are topics lately and perennially, and the pay gap I think is always an excellent way to measure that. But what exactly would we be measuring by looking at the pay gap? And I don't know if we have a word for that yet. I ask because the answer tells us why we pay anyone a certain wage. Corporations, we are told, are acting on behalf of their shareholders, making rational decisions to get the best dividend or share price, the best value for their shareholders. So they have to get the lowest wages for their employees while still retaining valuable workers. Except some of the employees get paid very well, even better than they ask for. Some hardly need to negotiate wages at all and are simply paid a lot of money. Market forces don't seem to apply at all. In fact, it all seems like these complex theories are just kind of made up. At other positions, we have workers that are roped into dubious legal contracts, and the employer will actually risk lawsuits that could significantly harm this so-called bottom line to prevent paying higher wages. They will shut a fast food restaurant before paying $15 an hour, even though they clearly know they can be profitable while paying that wage. It's obviously not about money, but clearly money paints the picture. It's absolutely the representation of where we place our respect. If it were actually about money, if it were actually about the quarterly earnings reports, the fast food industry would cut executive pay and streamline their facilities. It's about power and respect. Well, or at least to some people. But before I go there, let me digress a moment and talk about doctors. I don't begrudge them their high wages, but I've heard the argument that we want them to be well paid because they're responsible for our health, which is true. So are nurses. They're the ones double checking your medications and actually organizing your care for a lot less money. And the nursing assistants are the ones that will brush your teeth when you're old, check on you when you're asleep in the hospital, and hold your hand while you release your final breath. But they're chronically underpaid and skewed demographically towards Black women. We do not pay the right people the right amount of money. But it doesn't have to be this way. And it frequently isn't. In fact, we can make choices with every dollar. Well, we can. We can't. I'm sorry. Hang on. We can make choices with every dollar. Sorry, I lost my little place there. Well, we can make it all about power and respect, enforcing the hierarchy. We can also choose love at every turn. It's not as easy as just deciding to do so. It takes careful consideration, thoughtful planning, lifestyle adjustments, and a healthy daily routine. Breaking habits like fast and processed food or fossil fuels can be really hard. Some might say you'd have to do it religiously. I've heard there's a place to learn these kinds of things called a church. You might get where I'm going with this. You might also be thinking, but shouldn't I give money to buy insecticide-treated mosquito nets? That's the cheapest way to save as many lives as possible, which I'm happy to discuss in coffee hour. But really, I think this is more like putting the oxygen mask on yourself before putting it on your child. it's important to have a healthy community. And that's what we grow right here. Now, I feel like I should get to the point, if I really have one, which is that I believe we should act with love and compassion in everything that we do. I think that it's easy to see in our interactions with people, maybe even our community or our work, we can stretch to how we treat our body and our spirit with love and compassion, but our money is every bit as important as these other things. Doing it well is something that we have to learn, and we learn it in and from our community. Thanks.
Why not every man?
Why not every man?
Why not every man?
Why not every man?
Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man?
He delivered Daniel from the lion's den.
Jonah from the belly of the whale.
The Hebrew children from the fiery furnace.
Then why not every man?
Why not every man?
Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man? Why not every man? So why not every man?
Thank you again, Rebecca and Bennett. And I just love that song and video from the Unitarian Church of Brooklyn. Money. I thought about using snippets today of like, money makes the world go round, or money, 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 or money. Anyway, I had all of them, and I decided I didn't want to get that far into that idea until we actually got into the service. But money's a necessary evil. There's a passage in the Christian Testament in one of the letters Paul wrote to Timothy that is misquoted often. And it says, the misquote is, money is the root of all evil. But the actual quote is, the love of money is the root of all evil. So, what's the difference? Merit and reward have carried our civilization quite a ways. The idea is not inherently faulty. The problem comes with means of determining who sets the standards for what's merited and what's rewarded and how much, and the criteria by which it's evaluated and rewarded. I love what the Reverend Dr. Theron Jackson says about, he doesn't fault people for having success and resources, but don't start on third base and act like you hit a triple. The point being, the ground isn't level where people start. I mean, everybody doesn't get the same place to start, but analogies, metaphors, and stories are so important in conveying things that we try to communicate across cultures and across the differences. We are symbol-making people. Language is largely symbolic. Money is symbolic. I mean, what makes one piece of paper worth $1 and another piece of paper very, very, very much like it worth $100? Why is a diamond valuable? Why is gold valuable? Money represents many things. It represents security and power. It's a recognized mode of exchange that's offered for goods and services, but anymore, the merit system has once again been somewhat displaced by a system of spoils. The people who have the money and have the power are the ones setting the standards, setting the rules, determining the criteria for compensation and how much it will be. Once upon a time, capitalism was a remedy to systems that were totally dominated by small groups of individuals. Capitalism afforded us all a way to be compensated for our efforts, for our innovations, for excellence. People were paid for their skills. Anymore, it's just whoever has the power gets to create more power and determine what those who are actually doing hard labor or providing necessary skills are bringing. This necessary evil we have, this money, these systems of exchange, has been inflated by that system to a point where the individual mustered so much significance that they displaced the well-being of the community, of the village, of the whole. How do we bring that back into balance? Socialism is an idea that's discussed a lot now, or socialized medicine, or trying to make sure everybody has access to healthcare, to education, to housing, to food, safety. But even with socialism, the problem becomes who sets the rules, who decides the criteria, and who manages the managers, how, what the systems are going to be. At this point in history, money and that necessary evil displace the things we don't have the capacity for anymore. We don't individually grow our own food. We don't individually have wells in our yards. Most people that live in a city don't have wells. We don't have windmills or solar panels in place or gas lamps, from liquid fuel that light our houses and run the numerous devices that we have become so dependent on. So we need money. The root of evil, the love of money, has set the system where it is. So again, the problem being who decides these things. In this country, democracy was set up to help manage and keep a lid on those that would be most in position to usurp power through a system of checks and balances. The system has become pretty warped. We are hoping and being active in efforts to ensure that it doesn't fall apart. That takes money too. Operating a building that apparently now is on property that's worth $1 million or so bucks takes money, even when we're not in it. Most often, people with a great deal of money and other capital assets or leverage generated through force or manipulation or setting the standards in business, in politics. But I also wonder, if we get towards a more socialized system, where does the drive for innovation sit? And where will the impetus for excellence arise? The remedy I was talking about, there used to be all kinds of things that rewarded sacrifice. The biblical stories of greater love hath no man than to lay down his life for a friend, and to sacrifice one's own well-being for that of another. And we came to realize, after people were so beat down and came to a point where they had no self-esteem anymore, that the individual is important. The individual is what makes the systems of any type be able to function. So we had organized labor. We came into villages so that the things that were greater than us, like natural disasters, could be dealt with to the best of our human abilities. But here we are. And what we need most now is redeveloping a sense of trust, reinvesting with our own desire for something better, dreaming bigger and engaging with others so that we can bounce ideas around and come up with solutions for all of the quandaries that the systems that have existed so far set up. I guess always it comes back to, it boils down to balance. Like Larry was saying, this time the balance is between rights and responsibility to one another, for one another, and for oneself and our actions, our honorability, our integrity, the decency of humankind. I don't know if it evolves over time, if we are evolving, but there isn't a system so far that's lasted millennia and millennia successfully. We will have to create new ideas. We'll have to work together to do that. Richard Rohr, who I talk about a good bit, finds the real message of the story of the talents, where a master or a property owner was going to leave town, and he charged the different people that were working for him with different amounts of his assets, divvying up things in different shares. One was given, if all of his property was worth X amount of money, he gave one employee the larger portion of these assets, another a little bit less, and another still less. And they called these particular assets talents. Talents were worth a great deal of money in those days. So when the master goes away for a while and comes back, the one to whom he had given the most assets to manage had doubled the value of those assets, and the master or owner rewarded him. The one to whom he had given the second least amount of assets had doubled those, and he was rewarded. The one to whom he had given the least amount had buried those somewhere safely, but so that they wouldn't be lost over his master's absence. And that person was punished. Richard Rohr's take on this story wasn't that the one person hadn't made money. It was that he had stopped the flow and participation with the system of flow, and thereby had dammed up those assets. Rohr talks about how participation responsibly is what we are called on to do. Hoarding, or saying, the one who has the most toys at the end wins, is damming up the system. It keeps the flow from happening. It keeps the resources from getting to the places they need to go. Responsible use and participation were rewarded in the story. In other traditions, faithfulness to steadfast compassion is the value determining what turns on the flow, the participation in the flow. In Hebrew, it's called hesed. In Buddhism, it's loving kindness. I have certainly had more than my share of good fortune. I've gone through phases of, as another Bible story would say, squandering my substance in riotous living. I've also tried to go through phases of being responsible with my assets and trying to see that they get back into the flow. As we set up a budget, as we try to do things in this community and with the community around us, I hope we will all do what we can to balance the flow. When I first moved to California, I got down, and I know some of you have heard this story before, but I got down to $10 and a quarter tank of gasoline. I heard about a place that was taking auditions that was about 30, 45 minutes away. And so I drove to this place to do the audition. The man who owned the place said he wasn't taking auditions that day, but he gave me $10 and fed me a meal so that I could come back the next day to do the audition. I ended up getting the job. For those days, it was a good paying job, playing music. But what I found in those times was the tighter I tried to hold on to my assets, the more they dwindled. And the more I tried to trust the flow of the things around me and follow my calling, follow where I was led to go, the more abundant the resources came. I do not think God is someone, something, a power that grants our wish list just willy-nilly like a Santa Claus. But I do think participation and integrity find reward. I do believe in a benevolent underlying energy in this world that feeds us all, that gives us all life, and makes it so when we are trustworthy and when we live into our dreams, we find support in the universe we may not have recognized before. Our closing hymn is For All That Is Our Life. The lyrics are on the screen, and I hope that you will sing along with us.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
As we extinguish our chalice, I ask you to carry your light into this world. You can all be such beacons. I've seen you do it. The world needs light. The world needs our investment. And the world needs us to not be afraid, to participate in the flow. So go forth in simplicity, find and walk the path that leads to compassion and wisdom, that leads to happiness, peace, and ease. Welcome the stranger and open your heart to a world in need of healing. Be courageous before the forces of hate. hold and embody a vision of the common good that serves the needs of all people. Thank you for being here. Namaste. Ashe, blessed be. Amen.